Fabrica! Welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk Taíno. I'm Priscilla Colon, co-founder and creative here at Casarito, where our mission is to promote the Taíno language and culture. Before we begin today's episode, I want to remind you that Casarito has launched its new website, casarito.com, where you can find all kinds of resources for the Taíno language and culture, including our kids' books, which help connect kids to the natural world, and learn about the Taíno language and ancestors as well. And there's more. You're also going to find our Taíno digital course where you can learn about the Taíno language and culture using the latest language learning software. This course is being created in collaboration with 7,000 Languages, an amazing nonprofit that helps indigenous groups around the world revitalize and maintain their indigenous languages. Jajóm 7,000 Languages. On today's episode, we're going to ask and answer a simple question. Katei buk inra ani? What do you do here? Now, to answer this question, all we need to do is complete this simple phrase that you see. Dak blank ani. In that blank, you're going to insert the verb so that you can say what you do here. Now, this seems like a simple exercise, right? Well, you're going to be using some verbs that you've learned in the past and some verbs that you'll be learning today. This will give you a chance to practice adding more verbs or action words to your vocabulary. And studies have shown that the more vocabulary you have in a language, the more proficient you are in it. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to boost up that number of vocabulary words in the Taíno language. So let's start by taking a look at today's verbs. Today's verbs are to dance, araguaca, to sleep, atunca, to sing, iraja, to study, rocojawa, to paint, achepua. Now that you've got those verbs in your toolbox, we're going to use it to first identify which verb is the most appropriate in a specific context. Then we will ask and answer that question about what you do in that context. Are you ready to get started? I'm excited for this one, so let's go. Let's start with our question. Katei buk inra ani? What do you do here? Okay, let's take a look at the picture. You've got that in your mind, right? Now, let's take a look at our choices. The verbs are iraja, achepua, or rocojawa. So, the most appropriate verb would probably have to be to paint, since that's what the girl is doing in the picture. Do you remember what the verb to paint is in Taíno? That's correct. The word is achepua. So that is the right verb in this context. Now, let's answer the question by completing that phrase that I showed you at the beginning. Dak achepua ani. I paint here. You see how that activity works? Are you ready for the next one? Let's start with our question. Katei buk inra ani? What do you do here? Okay, let's take a look at that picture. We have some students surrounded by books. So, what do you think they're doing? Now let's take a look at our choices. Achepua, iraja, rocojawa. Well, we just said achepua is to paint, so we have to figure out which one of the other two words is correct. These students look like they're in a library to me, and they look like they're studying. So, which word do you think means to study? That's correct. Rocojawa is to study in Taíno. Now let's put that in a sentence to answer the question. dak rokohawa ani. I study here. Now I think you're ready for the next one. Let's start with the question. Katei buk inra ani. What do you do here? So first, we take a look at the picture. There is a very big bed. It looks like a bedroom. Now let's look at our choices of verbs. Atun ka, rokohawa, achepua. Well, we know that rokohawa means to study and achepua means to paint. I think by process of elimination, the answer is atun ka, and I believe that means to sleep. That is correct. The answer is atun ka. Now, let's use that in a sentence to answer the question. Dak atun ka ani. I sleep here. Now we'll do our last example, but I've got a little trick up my sleeve. Let's just say that there may be more than one correct answer. Let's start with a question. Katei buk inra ani. What do you do here? Well, the picture shows a concert, and I see some choices. The verbs are araguaka, iraha, and rokohawa. Well, I can eliminate one word already, rokohawa, which means to study. I doubt anyone can study with all that noise. Now let's take a look at our other choices, araguaka and iraha. If you watched our previous episodes, you know that these two things can be done at a concert. Araguaka means to dance and iraha means to sing. And that's correct. Our answers are araguaka and iraha. Now, let's put that in a sentence to answer the question. Dak araguaka ota iraha ani. I dance and sing here. That one was a little tricky, but I'm sure you figured it out. And see what we did? We practiced all of these verbs, some of which we had learned in the past, and some of which we're learning today. And don't worry, I've left below a link to the previous episode so that you can catch up if you hadn't seen those verbs before. Now, before we end, as always, let's review everything we learned today. Achepua, to paint. Dak achepua ani. I paint here. Rokohawa, to study. Dak rokohawa ani. I study here. Atunka, to sleep. Dak atunka ani. I sleep here. Araguaka, to dance. Dak araguaka ani. I dance here. Iraha, to sing. Dak iraha ani. I sing here. As always, thank you so much for supporting this movement, for joining in this journey to learn Taíno, because I know together we can do it. Before you leave today, make sure that you are clicking that subscribe button, that you're activating your notifications so that you stay up to date with all of the new episodes. We do at least one every week, including videos for the kiddos if they want to learn more about the Taíno language. They're going to learn some simple words and phrases in our Taíno for Kids playlist. You can also check out the Taíno culture playlist if you want to delve a little bit more deeply into the Taíno culture. Don't forget to join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to continue the conversation. And sign up for our newsletter to stay in the know. You'll learn all about some of the episodes we're working on, some of the events that we're participating in, and some cool tidbits that I share with everyone. In the meantime, tay kara ya, guaitiao na agu.